Alcoa is a world leader in the production and management of aluminum. From its operational headquarters in Pittsburgh in the U.S., Alcoa conducts operations in 31 countries. Alcoa's products are used worldwide, from aircraft to packaging, building and construction, to oil and gas and industrial applications. And Alcoa is also considered a bellwether of the global economy. I spoke to Alcoa's chairman and chief executive Klaus Kleinfeld and asked him what his outlook is for economic growth.
Well, in general terms, the U.S. is holding up pretty nicely. Slowed down in the recent month probably a little bit, but we still expect growth. There are strong industries here like automotive and aerospace, very important industries for us. And even the building and construction sector seems to have bottomed out. When you look at Europe, the situation doesn't look quite as good. The situation is pretty dramatic there. Solution is not at sight, so this is pulling the world market down. Asia, I'm very optimistic, China in particular.
Well, let's focus on China, because China has been hurt by slowing global demand. Obviously, the situation in Europe has affected China significantly. China's Premier Wen Jiabao is warning that the country is under pressure, but that Beijing will be able to maintain its growth target. What is your outlook for the business of Alcoa in China?
Well, we expect for this year a growth in aluminum demand in China of 11%. To put that in perspective, that's probably twice the growth rate that we see in the rest of the world. So that's important. And we actually see that aluminum as a strong ingredient of the general growth, the urbanization, the industrialization that happens in China. It goes from the aerospace industry to automotive, to building and construction, to packaging. Partially it is because it's a lightweight material. I mean, we've just had a great cooperation with Yutong, a Chinese bus maker, and basically allows to have a bus that's about 8% lighter than normal, right? So that's fantastic, right? When you look at packaging, aluminum is infinitely recyclable. When you throw an aluminum can away, it comes back as a new can, typically in 60 days. I mean, when you apply this to automotive, we can shave off about 10% of the total weight through lightweighting. So that's all great things, and in a country like China that's growing, that's urbanizing, where you have a middle class, this is obviously very, very important.
So how will Alcoa then execute its corporate strategy with China's new 5-year plan?
Very important piece of work. It basically drives for better value-add product, higher wage industries. It's a very strange thing that today almost all of the aluminum that's consumed in China also gets made in China, because the key ingredients for the aluminum industry are not there. 60% of the bauxite is getting imported from places like Indonesia. Indonesia has just clamped down on it and is not further exporting its bauxite, right? Energy. There is almost no energy in China. Energy is short, and most of the energy is made via coal-fired power plants, so on top of it, it's pretty dirty. That is the reason why you see today the refineries as well as the smelters are some of the highest cost refineries and smelters around the world. So it doesn't really make sense, and that's what you see reflected also in the 5-year plan, a drive for value-add industries away from these type of heavy industries.
Earlier this year, you had a joint venture with China Power and Investment Corporation. What is the strategic plan there? Elaborate on that partnership.
And that's exactly where that comes in. I mean, the point is, I mean, for Chinese companies to partner with firms like Alcoa. So to make sure that there is a secure supply of aluminum that comes into the country, while at the same time allowing for water, energy, resources to be used in a different way for higher value-add industries. Right? That's one part of our cooperation with CPI, looking at activities outside of China where we can bring materials into China so that China can use their resources in a better way, and also has a more sustainable industry.
Now, you mentioned sustainability, and Alcoa has actually been nominated by Forbes magazine several years running as one of the top companies in terms of sustainability. How important is that to Alcoa, and how do you plan on building on that legacy, especially in a country like China?
It is extremely important, and it comes in multiple forms. One is obviously the material that we make. aluminum is one of the most sustainable materials, and that comes mainly through the impact of being lightweight and therefore being able to shave a lot of weight off and make things faster and make things less, fuel consumption need, right? But also the aspect of the recyclability. It's infinitely recyclable. It always goes back to its original form. And I think that's part of the attraction that also Chinese leaders see to make the country a more sustainable place.
And year to date, Alcoa shares are down about 0.2%. The stock has been holding steady at around $8 all year. Now, to put things in perspective, in July of 2007, Alcoa shares were at around $47.